trial against 5 men accused of killing football star Senzo Meyiwa is expected to kick off today. He was shot dead 8 years ago in Vosloorus. The men face charges of murder, attempted murder, armed robbery, possession of illegal firearms and ammunition. For more on what we can expect, we're joined now by legal analyst, Advocate Modidima Mannya. Advocate, it's great to have you with us on the program this morning. And we're hoping that the people who have been tracking this story, and of course the family of Senzo Meyiwa, all hoping that the trial gets underway today and that finally there will be answers.
Yes, good morning and good morning to your viewers. Although it's very doubtful that the trial will actually get underway, from what it seems, the accused, except for one, has now changed legal representatives, and I think the new legal representative has now made representations. He seems to argue that the charges against his clients must be withdrawn and that the people who were in the house be charged. So he seems to be raising that argument. So the question of whether the trial will proceed is now becoming an issue. It also seems that the prosecution is of the view that there might be a conflict of interest in the new legal representative because some of the accused have made confessions. So one seems to think that there will be some logistical debates before the actual trial can get underway.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about this application that the people who were in the house at the time of the murder, that they be charged. In the very least, surely we will hear from them in terms of them taking the stand if indeed the trial does get underway.
Yes, certainly. I think firstly, as a matter of law, it is the state which decides who to charge. The police would have conducted their investigations and gave a docket to the prosecution. So the prosecution, upon consideration, would have decided who to charge. So it's not for the accused in the present matter to dictate who should be charged. But certainly, I believe these people will have to be witnesses because their case seems to be that there was a robbery. So they would have to give evidence about the robbery.
Such a emotive case, isn't it, Advocate Mannya? Because of who Senzo Meyiwa was, because of the back and forth of exactly what happened on the night of the murder, the different stories, the apparent lack of any new leads in terms of police effecting these arrests, and then in 2020, these 5 men are arrested. But some of them, upon their arrest and in their first court appearances, said they weren't even in the province at the time of Senzo Meyiwa's murder.
Yes, I think the bottom line in the matter is, and to answer the question, under what circumstances do you bring a person to face trial? And I think that the taste of the pudding will be in the eating when the trial gets underway, because the police will have to indicate why they brought this accused to court, before court for trial. And as I indicated, the prosecutor seems to say some of them made confessions. We don't know the content of the confessions, but assuming that they made the confessions, the possibilities that some may have implicated others in the setup.
How much, Advocate Mannya, how much of the pressure on police at the time to effect an arrest, insofar as Senzo Meyiwa's murder is concerned, led to these arrests? I suppose that's what people will be asking. Were these arrests made because there was so much pressure on police and someone needed to be apprehended?
You know, I think that police generally are under tremendous pressure, and they have got their own challenges and difficulties, and in some instances may not necessarily do a good job. You will recall that in this matter, I think there's been quite a number of changes in the investigators. There has been threats, of course, to do a private prosecution. There has been threats to take the police to court. So indeed, there was a lot of pressure brought to bear on the police. But I am inclined not to believe that it is that pressure which led to the police arresting these people. I don't necessarily think that the police and the prosecution could take the risk of just arresting people for the sake of bowing to public pressure.
What do you reckon the impact will be, as we talk about the pressure on police, insofar as this case is concerned? what will be the impact of the case, Advocate Mannya, if indeed this trial does not result in a guilty verdict here, if there is not enough proof to show that this is why Senzo Meyiwa was killed and this is who killed him?
You know, a trial is a trial, and a conviction can only be secured upon the state proving the case beyond any reasonable doubt. Now, anything can happen, and it may not necessarily mean that the accused are innocent, but in the course of the trial, things could happen which could result in the matter being, in the accused getting scot-free, so to speak. So it's probably prudent just to follow the trial and see what really becomes of this. As you know, the legal representative seems to be saying police have got two separate dockets, and that's why he's raising the issue about the other people who were in the house. But as I say, it is now a trial, and hopefully if it starts, it will give better light on the direction that it will take.
Yeah, certainly. Advocate Modidima Mannya, let me thank you for your time this morning.